Welcome
Nice to
to
meet you.
Newsround.
Oh,
Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
You've made quite a few movies that kids love. Of course, the Harry Potter movies, and then you've got Night at the Museum movies, and back in the day, Home Alone and Mrs. Doubtfire. Are you just a big kid yourself?
I am. I really, I mean, for me, I think about, everybody is like, when are you going to start doing films for adults? But it's not, it's just not as much fun. And I like working with younger people because I thrive off of their sort of lack of cynicism and excitement of being on the set. You know, when you work with people, like I remember working with Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert the first time, they were so thrilled to be on the set and so excited to be doing that. And Emma, the three, they were just thrilled to be there, and I love that. I love that concept that kids are excited about coming to work, and I, you know, as I said, I work off of their excitement as well, so I am a big kid myself.
And what were the actors on this film like? Were they just as excited?
Yeah, I mean, Logan Lerman, who plays Percy Jackson, has done a few films in his career, but he was so excited to do a film like this, and he was so excited to take on the role of Percy Jackson. Yet at the same time, he seems to really have this instinctual ability as an actor that you would expect him to be 45 years old. He really knows his craft very well for a person of his age, and I think he's going to be one of the big movie stars over the next few years.
How did you come across this movie? Did someone just come to you and say, there's this book, we think you'd be great to direct it as a movie? Or how did
No, my daughter was reading, well, she was actually listening to the book, and she, my daughter suffers from dyslexia. Percy Jackson also suffers from dyslexia, which is, when you see the film, is an empowering thing for him. So I was really intrigued by that element. I thought a lot of kids can see this film, and if they're, whatever their problems, whether it's dyslexia or ADHD, there's still something that makes them feel empowered when they see this film. So I wanted to do it for that reason. And then when I read the book, I thought it was thrilling to be able to combine the world of Greek mythology in contemporary modern society. I thought, well, this is great because this combines two worlds that we actually have never seen on film before.
Because the book is so popular, does that kind of make it a guaranteed hit? Do you think lots of people will just come and see it because they love the book?
I don't think it's a guaranteed. I don't think anything is a guaranteed hit except maybe Harry Potter. But I do honestly believe that the book will help us, and hopefully, you know, the two things will sort of feed off of each other. People will see the film and maybe then start to read the books, and also, more importantly, maybe start to learn a little bit more about Greek mythology. We only really scratched the surface of it in our film, and it's a much more complex and interesting world. So hopefully kids will say, oh my God, that's Greek mythology is great. I'd love to learn more about it.
Well, when I saw the film, I remembered all the stuff that I'd learnt at school that I'd forgotten.
Oh, that's
so you
great.
do secretly learn all this stuff without realizing you're learning all this stuff.
Well, it's not, the last thing you want to say about a film is that it's educational, because it'll have the kids running, you know, running to the park. So for me, it was, you know, there's a little bit of that in there, but the stories are so fun. It's not really educational. That's why when kids learn about Greek mythology in school, they're thrilled to be learning about that, because it's an exciting, you know, the stories, that's why the stories have existed for hundreds of years, because they're exciting, thrilling stories.
If you're a fan of the book, will you like the film?
Oh,
it's obviously not directly exactly how it was in the book.
Yeah, well, it was very important to me to, you know, to be able to make the best film possible. And I thought if I'm a slave to what exists in the book, then the problem is the film will not have that sense of excitement and visceral, thrilling cinematic experience. So I've showed the film to a lot of kids already who've read the book, and it was very important to me. And they said, "Well, it's not exactly like the book, but I love the film." So that was exciting.
Now, we talked about Harry Potter. Do you still watch the ones that you haven't had anything to do with? Because you were directing and producing the first three.
Oh, completely.
Are you still a big fan?
Oh, I'm an enormous fan, and you know, and I see them in America, and I start to well up with tears because you know, I spent 4 years with those kids, and to see them grow and to turn into such fine actors you feel like a proud parent. Yeah, so I go to the films immediately when they come out. I love the films. I think David Yates is doing a fantastic job.
And obviously there's lots of comparisons. There's been lots of talk about how this is like the next Harry Potter, or it's similar, or the writing on the trailer's a bit similar, or, you know, people are bringing up the similarities. What would you say to that? Does that annoy you a little bit, or does that make you even more proud?
Well, I think it reminds me of a sort of an American book publisher who said, I'm going to stop putting the next Harry Potter on the back of every children's book.
Yeah, because you guys are bringing it up.
Yeah, and I said, well, you know, the studio is bringing it up, but at the same time, comparisons are inevitable. But comparisons are inevitable in any fantasy genre. I honestly believe that we have as much in common with Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, because you're primarily dealing with a character who's flawed, a character who's searching for something, some sort of emptiness inside themselves. So they go on a quest. That's the linchpin in all of these films. So for me, we're just related to this big, wonderful world of fantasy.
What's different about this film compared to Harry Potter?
Well, this film takes place, Harry Potter takes place at Hogwarts, and Harry Potter is essentially a very British world. This film obviously it doesn't deal with wizards, it deals with Greek mythology, and it's a quest across America for Percy to actually release his mom from Hades. So that's a completely different film as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it was great talking to you.
Nice talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.